Hello and welcome to the Long Ball Street podcast. Today, as you can see on or hear, not on the podcast, forget sometimes that we're not always on YouTube. We got Rory Jennings of some Chelsea channel.
That'll do.
What's he called?
CFC Fan TV, but some Chelsea channels also fine.
Yeah, I have zero interest in that. But I love your work. I
Thank you.
love how decisive you are about. Brilliant. How decisive you are about the comments that you have, and things that you divide opinion.
Yes, it's been suggested. I think occasionally I make an error of going in too strong.
Yeah.
With an opinion and often pay the price.
Right.
Happened at Crystal Palace recently.
Yeah, that was good.
But Robbie Savage came to my defence.
Did he?
He did.
Explain the story.
I did a clip for BT Sport prior to the match saying that Chelsea are going to win 5-0, saying that Roy Hodgson doesn't have a chance against Antonio Conte, and predicted that Chelsea would be 4-0 up at half-time, 5-0 final score. That clip went out on BT and then did another clip for them saying, as I walked out of the stadium, Chelsea lost 2-1. And to summarise what I said, I basically walked out and went, I clearly don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah. And Robbie Savage was on the panel and he massively backed me up. So I have a friend in Robbie, if no one else. If not you, Flav.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm your friend, close to being best friends.
Why not? No, but Robbie said it's the peril of a pundit. Not that I see myself as a pundit at all, but I think it's anybody who kind of puts their head slightly above the parapet can easily be made a meme.
The thing is, the industry we work in is that no one wants to hear soft, sort of on-the-fence comments, but the minute you say something that other people might find interesting because it is a little bit abrasive, it then gets clipped up and shared on social media.
Absolutely, this is a problem. Yeah, I mean, this is exactly it. I sometimes get comments through on Twitter and that, and people will say, bit biased, mate. I'm a Chelsea fan. I run a Chelsea channel. Of course I'm biased. I think Chelsea are the greatest thing since sliced bread. Under no circumstance am I not going to be biased. I never try and give a balanced opinion. I give an opinion based on a Chelsea perspective, always. Fair
enough. We've got a lot coming in this podcast. 40 minutes is going to be about the run times. We've got a lot to fit in, as usual. Massive podcast coming up. We're talking about Mourinho and what he's doing at United, and is he digging his own grave once again. We're going to ask some questions around Halloween. It is Halloween after all. We've got Manchester City fans not being allowed to wear belts at the game against Napoli. Garth Crooks turning into a kind of geriatric, odd sort of... I mean, you're going to like what he has to say, actually.
Oh, really?
But he sounds like my dad talking about football.
Look forward to that.
Tottenham lifetime in ban in two of our fans. Dejan Lovren threats to his family, being murdered by fans. Lots of stuff. Morata clearing up his comments about London. And a really strange story, a beautiful story and a funny one, about a team in China who've just been given a massive windfall for performance on the pitch.
Okay.
Anyway,
it's exciting.
First thing, who's the scariest footballer you've ever watched? Anyone you've ever seen who would least likely, Halloween season?
In terms of being hard.
Yeah.
Is that how we're defining scary?
Yeah. Who would you least like to have played against?
I think Mick Harford is definitely the hardest player to have ever played football.
Yeah.
I think Vinnie Jones certainly deserves an honourable mention here. Do you know who else I think would always watch out for the little ones? I think Dennis Wise. The little ones always deserve. You've got to keep an eye on them. Dennis Wise knocks you out.
Really?
Dennis Wise knocks you out. What do you mean, really?
What do you mean, me out?
What do you mean, really?
You've never seen me.
You can't.
You've never seen me throw elbows. You have no idea who can and can't knock me out.
You just questioned the Dennis Wise. I can certainly question you.
I saw Dennis Wise scrape his nails down the face of a footballer.
Right.
That isn't the mark of a traditional hard man.
But it's cute. He's clever. He wouldn't have got sent off that day, and I guarantee the person... Do you remember when he did it to Nicky Butt? Chelsea beat Manchester United 5-0, the treble-winning Manchester United team 5-0. And Chelsea were 2-0 up at the time, and Nicky Butt and Dennis Wise went in for a challenge together. Nicky Butt, incredibly hard bloke, by the way.
Yeah.
Incredibly hard. Those who had a 50-50, they're both on the floor. As Wise stands up, he delicately places his hand on Nicky Butt's inner thigh before ripping out a chunk of pube. upon which Nicky Butt goes bonkers, knees Dennis Wise. Dennis Wise goes down, obviously in agony, genuinely in agony, I'm sure.
Knees him in the ball.
Knees him on the side. Wise was on his way up, Butt gives him the knee, and Nicky Butt gets sent off. Chelsea go on to win 5-0. Job done.
But surely, like, there should have been a retrospective.
He's a bit clever. He's clever and shrewd. I'm not saying that, it's the dark arts of the game, but there is a place for them, and I do have a love for them as well.
Fair enough.
Not impressed.
Not really.
Not impressed. Dennis
Wise wasn't what he was. Mick Harford, I get, an absolute nutcase. You had some Chopper Harris. Chelsea have had some hard players.
But Vinnie Jones, I think Vinnie Jones in his pomp was incredibly tough at Chelsea.
Yeah. He's also an absolute thug on the pitch. Barely a footballer.
Yeah, he's a thug. I can't believe I've brought him up, actually. He is a man who I now detest.
When at football have you been most afraid? It doesn't have to be about what's been happening on the pitch.
Me?
You felt like you've been in danger.
Hey, what are you talking about?
I know you've got a lot about you. You're a double R bastard. I understand that. I am too.
No, I'm afraid on a daily basis. Generally leaving the house is where it starts, and it doesn't stop until I walk back through the front door and see my wife. But no, football, I went to Kiev. A couple of years ago, 2015, I think. It was a terrible season for Chelsea, and that was rough. Really rough.
Why? What happened?
Just very hostile. The support there was incredible in terms of how passionate it was, how partisan it was, how tribal it was, how loud it was. Lots of positives to say about that, but it did cross a line and went over the threshold between what is passion and what is aggression.
Yeah.
And there was a fight in the I was in the away end, and there were probably 200 English Chelsea fans, so pretty insignificant in the stadium.
Yeah.
And there was a fight near where we were. I think it was a racially provoked fight, and that.
What, by the Chelsea fans?
No, Flav.
Oh.
On a Chelsea fan.
All right.
And we then went outside, and it was real chaos. Yeah. The police weren't interested, but that's probably the worst. That's probably the worst I've ever had it. Rome, about a decade ago, equally. We lost 3-1 over there, I think. And weirdly, we're playing them tonight. But that was also quite bad.
It's kicking off out there as well.
Last night, I think there was a little bit of grief in an Irish bar. But I think in terms of, on the scale that we're sort of discussing here, I think it would be incomparable to what happened in Kiev and what happened in Rome 10 years ago. I saw someone in Rome 10 years ago with a mace. Like an old-fashioned...
I do.
Yeah.
It's like a ball...
Like a ball and chain that you swing around your head and then launch into somebody.
It's different gravy, that is.
Yeah. Where'd you get one? That's the first... Where to start?
Museum. Yeah. There's been a couple of instances where I actually thought... There's one instance where I might die.
Arsenal?
Yeah, as if I might die, and that was when I was getting crushed getting into the stadium with Dortmund, but that weren't crowd violence, it was purely... The fact that they weren't opening the gates to let people through, and
that's terrifying. I had that in Paris once. It's awful, isn't it?
Because you're completely out of control.
Yeah.
There's literally nothing. You're at your mercy of stewards who are being told to keep these gates shut. And luckily, we managed to force these things open and get through.
Yeah.
And we went into the ground at this Dortmund game.
Loads of room.
There was
loads of room. Yeah, just open the door, you wally.
There were Spurs fans in there. I didn't understand it. Maybe they were checking tickets. I don't know, but it was very, very dangerous. When I was a kid, I think I must have been 12. Spurs played Man City in 1993 for the quarter-final of the FA Cup, and we went 4-2 up. Steve Sedgley got a brace, and
good to know.
and their fans ran on the pitch to try and get at Spurs. Spurs, because it being an FA Cup, had almost a quarter of the stadium, 4,000 odd, and it was terrifying. I was with my old man. My old man took me and my couple of brothers up, and I can't tell you how afraid I was as a boy. And I remember holding on to my dad and saying, they won't get us, will they?
Yeah, it's terrifying.
We got back. Main road you have to go through Moss Side. And Moss Side isn't the most pleasant of areas anyway. But that would be it. Other than that, I'm generally the one causing terror.
Yes, you're not on the receiving end. You are the provider of terror.
Towards the end of the podcast, we're going to answer your questions in the comments of YouTube. Again, if you're listening to this on the podcast version, you can always join us at 4:00 on Tuesdays. Get involved in the comments. There's a good little community going there. It hasn't quite turned sour yet.
Okay. The night is young.
Only a matter of time. So Mourinho's it's happening again. Barring Inter Milan, which I don't remember there being much of a fallout of him leaving, although there may be, he's managed to kind of turn himself against or create problems because his ego is so big, or he finds himself in situations that he can't back down in or refuses to because he's principled, he would see it, and I would say egotistical.
I think the phrasing of what you've said there is quite interesting because you've presented it as an accident. Mourinho's found himself in a situation and he can't back down. This is completely scripted. Mourinho has Mourinho is best. He is unplayable, but the conditions have to be correct, and those conditions often require him and his squad to feel like the underdog, to feel like the world's against them, to create a siege mentality, backs against the wall, and that provides or provokes the best in him, and also provides him with an opportunity to tell his team to rally. And it, look at his record. It works.
Yeah,
he likes that situation. He doesn't. He likes it to be frosty. He likes hostility. Some people, I mean, I can think of countless footballers and managers who work well like this. But equally, people in my friendship circle, they like a drama. They're good when there's like if things are all going well, they create some sort of a spark.
Yeah,
and it provides them with a reason, and it also provokes the best in them, and I think Mourinho is that unrivalled.
I mean, the situation at the moment as it stands is that Mourinho's kind of that he made this gesture during the game against Spurs last weekend where he put his finger up to his mouth, and there was kind of like a confusion about what that was about. That's
an old favourite of his. He's done that a few times.
It is quite a dismissive, annoying thing.
Yeah, I remember he did it to Liverpool. We played Liverpool in Cardiff. I think in 2005 we won the League Cup, and just as we equalised, I think Gerrard scored an own goal actually. He's turned to Liverpool fans and done exactly that.
Yeah.
It's his favourite thing. The reaction that he gets is exactly what he wants. This is good news for United fans.
Well, the problem is that he's aiming it at United fans, and while they think it's good news, this is his comment. Andy Mitten tweeted another Mourinho comment on fans in tonight's United review. I hope that you enjoy the game more than some of you did against United. Against Tottenham. Sorry, there's no real. I'm not sure what he gains from alienating a section, even the smallest section of the Man United.
I think what he's saying there. I think what he's saying is, we just beat an incredibly good Tottenham team, a Tottenham team that are a rival for the Premier League title. We've just beaten them. Stop being so spoiled. You've won that game. So you should have enjoyed it. If you didn't, perhaps you need to have a look in the mirror.
I think for a lot of the game, Man United were quite wasteful. They were making sloppy mistakes and were quite defensive. And it's the right tactic to
play. If you beat Tottenham, I think look, it depends what your motivation for going to that stadium is.
Yeah.
If you subscribe to my theory of football support, beating Tottenham in any circumstance is worthy of celebration. And I don't mean that as a rival to Tottenham. No. Yes, but what I also mean there is, it would be the equivalent for me then. I don't see Man City as a rival. City aren't a rival to Chelsea.
Yeah.
If you beat Man City in any circumstance, the other day when we played City, we couldn't get the ball off them. If we somehow won that game 1-0, you go mental, and you should be delighted. The fact that Manchester United fans, and I imagine it wouldn't have been like this in the stadium, but some on Twitter were slating the tactics.
Yeah.
I think Mourinho has a right to call those people out. You've just beaten a team that have finished second the last 2 years, is that right?
Second and third, yeah.
So you've beaten a team that are knocking on the door of winning the title. You've beaten them, you've got the 3 points against them, you don't have to worry about them again for a few months. There is reason to be happy there, not reason to moan.
I'm a big fan of Mourinho's.
Mourinho's an incredible manager.
I love, what I love about him annoys most people, but I love the fact that he never shies away from, especially courts, as you say, courts controversy, but he finds a way to win, but is the most abrasive and kind of unlikable character at the same time. And because he uses these kind of Machiavellian tactics, not only as manager, as negating the tactics of the other team, but in the press, he knows exactly what he's doing.
It wasn't always like this, It was. I actually think you can draw a line in Mourinho's character, like pre and post Madrid.
Yeah.
So the man he was before he went to Madrid and the man he is now, equally brilliant. Certainly up there. The man pre-Madrid was a master. I'm not quite sure he's that man anymore, because the man that he was then was pioneering a new style of management, and he was like this young, exciting, innovative guy. He's not quite that guy anymore, but he's a winner. But I do think that the man that he is now is also a little bit more tired, a little bit more cynical, and it tells in the way that he approaches a game. But you can't argue with the results.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if Man United go on to win the league this year, and not perhaps in the same style, with the same style and verve as Man City.
Who cares? Who cares if you win the league?
Ultimately, it's going to be remembered, isn't it?
Exactly. And I think that, look, City look incredible. I'm a Chelsea fan. I'm holding out optimism there, but a wise man would put money on Manchester United winning the league, and one of the main reasons is because they've got Jose Mourinho.
Even despite the fact that Man City are playing that well.
Yeah, I'm certainly not ignoring City's brilliance. City look, people are making ludicrous suggestions. They're comparing them to the Invincibles or the Chelsea team at 95 points. It's very early for that comparison, but it's a testament to them that they're being mentioned in the same breath as those incredible sides. Mourinho is more than capable of winning this league, though. No doubt. No doubt.
Without doubt. We said at the beginning, at the beginning of the show, at the beginning of the season, that I thought Man United were gonna win it, and I kind of still hold on to that. I've never, since Pochettino took over, more or less, barring the first season, which was a bit ups and downs, I've never seen us being as stunted as we were against United, and it wasn't
set up perfectly.
It was he's so good at that, and you have to, from a fan's perspective, I was frustrated watching the game and annoyed at what I was watching. But when you sit back after the emotion's gone, you have to, from a purely footballing sense, appreciate.
But Mourinho has a point there. Mourinho, taking everything that you've just said there into account, Mourinho has a point that he has worked hard all week, come up with a plan, executed the plan to perfection, taken the 3 points from Mauricio Pochettino, something that isn't easy to do, and then a few of his own fans, or the mood within his own support base, is negative. He must be like, what do you want?
Because the expectation for United, especially if they've gone through Moyes, Van Gaal...
The expectation is to win the league, and Mourinho is very much on course to win the league. It may not happen, but
he's in with a great shout.
With a great shout, and I think that United fans who aren't happy with his style at the moment need to get over it, because they're very lucky to have him.
I don't think it'll happen. I think he'll continue to alienate the fans. I think he might win the league and he might have one more season at United, but as ever in his career, he doesn't stick around for very long. I think United
would take that though, wouldn't they?
Yes.
As a United fan, you'd take that. They haven't won the league for the longest it's the longest they've gone without a Premier League title.
I can't tell you how important it is to have a manager in there you actually like.
I can't tell you how important it is to have a manager who knows what it's like to win trophies.
I mean, I wouldn't know.
I
do love my manager, and I think, look, we find comfort in that. I find comfort in the fact that I wish Pochettino was my dad, and you find comfort in managers that win Premier League trophies. So
I wish that Antonio Conte was my friend.
Everyone needs a good dad, Rory.
Everyone needs a good dad. I would love to have had one, but Antonio Conte is more of I think we'd be more mates. It's not a paternal relationship we'd have.
Do you think you'd get on with share a glass of wine?
I think me and my wife and Mr. and Mrs. Conte could quite easily go down to Cicconi's off Regent Street, have a nice bottle of red, and enjoy a wonderful evening.
Having known you over the last couple of months, I can absolutely see that, Rory.
And
do you know what?
I'd be so happy.
I would love to see it.
Oh, I'd be so happy. I'd buy a new pair of Duke and Dexters today.
I find a way for us to make that happen. And we'll do a
dinner with Conte. Anyone watching this or listening to this, friends with Antonio, can you...
And we go in this lovely restaurant, we set up cameras, and then you just have a chat.
Just have a lovely evening
with your respective wives.
I think our wives would become friends.
Yeah.
Maybe we could spend Christmas together, we could go over to Italy.
Yeah, does he speak good English?
I mean, I'd learn Italian if this even became slightly possible.
Speaking of which, Man United's main challenges, if you put aside Chelsea and Tottenham's charge, it's got to be Man City, and they're away in Napoli at the moment. And the weirdest thing I've ever heard, because a Napoli fan attacked a City fan. Is that right? Yeah. A Napoli fan attacked a City fan, and he's jailed for five months.
Oof.
But he was used a belt to use it, and actually, like, a belt is quite a nifty little weapon.
Serious weapon.
Occasionally.
Have you had to draw for the belt?
Sometimes people put it on, and you have to answer. It's a dog eat dog world, isn't it? But it has a kind of response to that. Man City fans aren't allowed to wear belts into the stadium.
It's ludicrous.
Not only that, the stewards weren't allowed to wear belts either, and that has since been overturned. But a very, very odd.
It's nonsense. It's a ridiculous overreaction. I mean, where do you draw the line here? It's crazy. If I attack someone with my door keys, am I not allowed to go out with my door keys anymore? Like, where do you draw the line?
I mean, don't attack anyone.
Don't attack anyone. Yeah, I mean, I do my best on a daily basis not to.
It's not even a Man City fan. It's not like they're going to get a reaction. What is it, like a revenge attack by using the exact same method they were attacking. Mad.
Yeah, no, it's a ridiculous thing. I think they need to be seen to act. I think the problem is with the Italian football culture, which I think is incredible. I think they've got it spot on a lot of ways, actually. The Roma fans who came to Chelsea the other evening were incredible and put every English club to shame. This isn't point scoring about any other, like Chelsea fans included. They were so loud, so passionate throughout the entire 90 minutes, and were a joy to witness. They get it right on a lot of levels, but they do have an issue with hooliganism. And I think that the Italian, whoever has made this decision, the Italian FA, maybe Napoli seniors, they need to be seen to react, because there is a real problem. Now, I was reading today, there was a problem when Napoli relatively recently, went to play the final of the FA Cup. They were playing against Fiorentina in Rome, and a Napoli ultra was killed by a Roma ultra. Like, Roma weren't even playing. Right. And there's problems between the clubs. So that, it's a major issue.
It's a weird sort of kind of set up, the Roma hooligan scene. And obviously Lazio as well.
Yeah, it's very weird.
You've been doing some reading about that, haven't you?
Mate, it's a fascinating culture. I mean, it's based, a lot of it's based on violence, but also a lot of it is based on pride in the city and your political leanings and your background and like loads and loads of things that isn't always. Like, it's also based on a love of clothing, a love of music, a love of food. It's based on a lot of things, and where your loyalties ultimately lie isn't just about what football club you support. It's about who you are fundamentally as a man. So yeah, it's fascinating stuff. But yeah, like in the city of Rome, there is the rivalry is unbelievable.
What was that story you were telling me about Lazio?
Well,
the colours that they play in aren't representative of the city.
It was quite an interesting story. Like, we're going massively off topic here.
Doesn't matter.
There were originally, like going back into the 1920s, there were 8 teams in Rome, and I think as fascism was coming into play, they wanted Rome to be more of a force. The city of Rome to be more of a force. Rome culturally, although it's kind of central Italy, culturally it's very southern, and that is like the heartbeat of Italy. You know, the northern Italy isn't seen as being quite, they're not true Italians in the same way.
I understand.
And they wanted to get Rome to be more of a presence in a footballing sense. So it had 8 clubs, I think, that used to play in Rome. And what they decided is they said, look, we can never compete with the northern powerhouses of, Milan, Turin. We can't compete with them. We need to make one. We need to be Rome, and then perhaps we can compete. So they got the majority of these clubs all formed one club. Roma, the club is AS Roma, and Lazio gave a massive V sign and went, we're not part of this, we are our own people, we are who we are, we don't want this, we hate you. And that is why the antipathy between Roma and Lazio is so strong, because if you're a Lazio fan, effectively you didn't identify with the rest of the city.
You're saying you're separatist to the actual city.
Yeah. Like, you haven't taken up the city's colours. You haven't taken, so like the Roma emblem is it's
orange and burgundy.
Yeah, it's Romulus and Remus, which are mythical Roman characters suckling from the teat of a wolf who brought them up, which is all Rome. And Lazio have gone, nah, we're
you know what? You're right.
Yeah, which I admire. Look, I like the way they've done that.
I do like that. I do like.
If I was a Lazio fan, I'd love it.
Yeah,
I'd go, we're not part of this. We're not part of your nonsense. We're our own.
Plus, there's something that sort of spits in the face of the traditions of football about amalgamating clubs to become something more powerful. Yeah. You build your fan base, and your ceiling is your ceiling, and that's it. I mean, it's unfortunate. Like Brentford's ceiling is their ceiling.
Yeah. Well, I suppose it's the equivalent of Chelsea, QPR, Brentford and Fulham saying West London doesn't have enough of a presence, let's combine and see how we go. Yeah. But, I mean, it's a weird one, but it certainly has worked for Rome when you look at the club that they are now.
It is fascinating.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
So certainly in Italian culture as well. You know that Florence, in Fiorentina, they are inside Florence. There's 4 sort of quarters,
right?
And these quarters don't get on necessarily, right? And they play this game called, is it Calcio? It's that game Calcio, where they just throw. They basically, it's a fight between the 4 quarters, and they all wear different colours. And each every year they've had this game, and it's barbaric. People die, you know. What I mean? It's just a boxing match, but with a ball involved. It's mental. But they go to the football, and they're all under one umbrella. They all support the same team. So they're kind of.
Well, I think that is brilliant when football can be a unifying presence. I think sometimes, so Roma historically would have been a left wing club.
Yeah.
I think this merger had an effect on that, and they. Although extreme left sort of communist ties, I think that this merger also led to the fact that they now have quite a strong right wing element as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a fascinating story, and the Rome derby is something like it's on the bucket list.
Yeah, I mean,
more so than any other derby as well.
Really?
Yeah. For me, that was something I'd love to do.
I always thought it quite funny that Lazio, being a very right wing football club, a right wing fan base, right wing ideology, always had SS on the front that they called SS Lazio. Is that? I mean, it's dubious in the most extreme.
I don't know enough about the history of the club.
I'm not suggesting that it has any relation.
It can't be.
It's apt. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, they used to have Chelsea and Lazio used to have a friendship that has now gone, and I think they now have an alliance with West Ham.
Right, that makes sense. Mainly because of beating up Spurs fans. I
think it might have something to do with that, yeah. But Roma mock Lazio for that. They had a banner that said, yesterday Chelsea, today West Ham, tomorrow, question mark.
Right. So fascinating. All right, moving on. Garth Crooks hates eccentric haircuts. He's been coming out in the press and talking about Bakayoko and Pogba specifically. He said, the time and effort it must take the Frenchman to manicure and dye his hair. It was blue this week, and dread to think what colour it will be next week. Would it be far better spent time training on the training pitch or perfecting his English?
He's such a wally. He's making out that there's a finite amount of time in Bakayoko's life.
Yeah.
So
all of it's done football.
Yeah, any moment can't. So if he goes to the barbers, this is time where he could be training. He might have trained for 10 hours that day. You still can go to the barber.
He is mental.
He's a clown. Yeah, he's losing the plot.
Pogba, he says, I also want to discuss Paul Pogba's new hairstyle, which features a red streak. I only mention it because he clearly wants to bring attention. He wants to bring our attention. There is so much for the midfielders to do at United, and he insists on behaving like an adolescent.
I don't know why he cares.
Garth Crooks, everybody!
Why does he care?
Bringing the heat!
Oh, I love him.
Yeah, can you imagine Paul Pogba or Bakayoko listening to this, just going, who? Who is this bloke, and why is he having a go at me?
I mean, look, he's in some quarters like a bit of a ledger at Spurs. He was very good for us, but as he got older, he's seen his political stuff. He's done some actual away from football political.
What's his political leaning?
I mean, as a serious journalist, he's never kind of divulged his political leaning, but I'd imagine he's a Tory, a raving conservative, based on the fact that he
like Sol Campbell.
Yeah, another weird one. Yeah.
Mate, have you ever seen my favourite photo on the entire internet? Yeah. It's Sol Campbell wearing knickerbockers. Have you seen that? No. It's truly the best. It's truly the best thing on the whole internet.
Knickerbockers, is this like hunting gear?
It's like hunting gear where you wear shorts that go to your knee that are very like pantaloons.
Yeah. And
then you wear a sock that goes from the bottom all the way up your calf. So basically, football socks, trousers from there, and then matching. Sol Campbell. That was the moment when I realised. Yeah, he is nuts. He is officially nuts.
No, he's mad. He is mad. I mean, I shouldn't say mad. You know, people have struggled with this stuff, but I don't like him. And given what he's done to me emotionally, he deserves it all. Tottenham. Lifetime bans for the two guys that threw piss on West Ham fans.
Yeah, I mean, what were they thinking? Did they? I didn't realise they'd been caught.
Yeah, they caught them both, and they're both in lifetime bans.
It's only one though, isn't it?
There's two of them.
You can't nick the filmer.
Well,
the
complicit, you know.
The videographer has done very little wrong here.
He could claim journalistic integrity. Couldn't he?
An incident happened, and I was there and captured it.
And I was giggling, but
if nothing else, his footage probably.
Everybody knows about this, but if those who don't know, there was a video come out for when Spurs played West Ham, and one guy was pissing into a cup, and he then launched it not only towards the West Ham fans, it went over them, but also over some of his own fans, and they were just laughing like it was nothing. Like, you know, you do these things, do them by all means, but expect,
don't film yourself.
Don't film yourself. Expect things to come back on top of you. He said actually the guy who did it was actually ironically or funnily enough the same guy who jumped on the pitch to celebrate with Aaron Lennon when we equalised.
It's the same guy.
Exact same guy.
It's a problem.
Yeah, it's a problem.
It's a problem.
He said that we exchanged the piss for cider, so it made it look like it was piss, but it was actually cider that they threw.
I didn't. I saw the video.
I mean, you're not allowed to drink in front of the pitch, so on that alone.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't cider. Yeah. It was one.
It tips it away apparently.
No. I mean, that's a flimsy excuse. I mean, fair play for trying, but that didn't happen.
He said a practical joke gone wrong.
He's the same guy that ran on for that 4-4 celebration.
Yeah, on the floor.
I remember that guy. yeah.
Dejan Lovren, more serious note. So Dejan Lovren has lost his shit because some Liverpool fans have been attacking him. A Liverpool fan, I should say, one singular idiot. Messaged him on Instagram saying he's going to murder him and his family. This was after the mistakes that he's made for...
what are you doing, mate? What are you doing? I mean, what can we say if that's what are you doing?
Well, it links to a question.
What are you doing?
Madness, innit? Like, it links to the question what Chris Pajak sent in. And he said, why don't people enjoy football anymore? And it's a good shout because football should ultimately be a positive experience in most people's life. You can't be so angry at someone's mistake, a human being making a mistake, to send a death threat to him and his family. Not that this guy's ever going to do anything. He's obviously just some sort of sad case, but...
You can't say things like that. I don't think we should make any excuses for him. It's like barbaric behaviour, and I feel sorry for Lovren massively. I literally have nothing to say here. It's just the behaviour of an idiot.
Yeah. So, but what is it about supporting a big club that brings...
Because there's so much at stake. Like, you stop in football, in terms of what you said there, in terms of it being enjoyable, I'm not convinced that it is. It's not a fun way to spend time. I mean, when Chelsea were playing Watford and were 2-1 down the other day, we were 60 minutes away from, 30 minutes away from our season officially being over in the league.
Yeah.
And they were, like, those 30 minutes, it went, until we got an equaliser and then a winner. I was sitting there, I was stressed out, I was unhappy, I was angry, I was swearing, I was terrible company, worse than now. It's a horrible experience, really. But then the euphoria when Michy Batshuayi scores, it makes it all worthwhile. But football isn't entertainment for me. It isn't meant to be entertaining.
Yeah, I got you. I understand that. I'm just thinking that if the lower down, the less expectation, the less media coverage, the more happy supporters are. I generally
They're not.
think.
I don't think they are, because so by that logic, we should be thinking that somebody like, I don't know, Stoke fans, West Brom fans, they know they're not going to go down. They know they're not going to win the league. No pressure. Every week's a party.
Yes, I'm actually thinking lower than the Premier League. I'm thinking where the cameras aren't really on and scrutiny isn't there and there isn't a constant... So football fans, when watching Sky Sports, you're constantly bombarded with, if you don't qualify for the Champions League, you are nothing. And if you're in the Champions League places, if you don't win the league, you are nothing. And that philosophy or idea...
But that is football.
It is football for a select group of teams. So you're talking maybe 20% of the professional clubs.
You're not about to make a case for like the glory of supporting Dulwich Hamlets, right?
Yes, no, not Dulwich Hamlets. But I'm actually going to make a play here for Brentford fans, Adam, because you listen and talk to him, right? And like,
but he's a lovely guy. He's just a good example of a lot of things.
Too dismissive. Listen, Adam comes in and he tells you, he goes, I love going to Brentford. I don't want to be in the Premier League. I love going to Brentford. It's what I do with my mates. We go and watch. He gets angry, didn't you? You get angry sometimes.
Yeah, he's hard as well.
Yeah, but he loves going to football. And I think actually the purest sense of following a football club...
No, you don't know.
Is it not the same for you though, Rory? Like,
unless they're winning.
Day out.
No, the day out.
The 90 minutes can be the worst part of the
day. The 90 minutes. Often football gets in the way.
way.
Football can get in the way of a brilliant day. I completely concede that. But you, as a Brentford fan, all due respect here, you don't get the euphoria of watching Drogba score in Munich. You don't get the buzz of that. The buzz of that outweighs.
He does.
You don't. How can you possibly know?
I get the euphoria of Romain Sawyers scoring like away at Loftus Road.
Yeah,
which for me is like...
His feeling there is exactly the same as your feeling there.
Can't
but
be.
You're being dismissive because you chose a bigger club.
I'm not being dismissive, but it's not the same thing. Winning the European Cup isn't the same as scoring an equaliser at Loftus Road. It's mental to suggest it is.
He got you there. But look, I think the jubilation felt...
So we were to win promotion, or to like win a big game in the playoffs, it would be similar.
Look, I think the year that QPR got promoted and Bobby Zamora scored that goal, they won at Wembley. They were in the Premier League. You can make a case. This isn't about a debate between small clubs and big clubs. The point I'm making here is the wonder and the reason that we go and the reason that Sky Sports make those points about the glory of the Champions League is because it is magnificent. Standing at Stamford Bridge, listening to that music ring out.
Do you know what?
It's.
I'm gonna argue here again. I've watched Spurs in it, and I've listened to that music, and I feel nothing.
Yeah,
All I see is all the pound notes. That's all I see. I look at that and think this has cost 60 quid. And you go and watch some players, not Spurs players, but other players. I don't really give a shit about Real Madrid coming. I don't care about.
No. I'm not interested in the opposition.
Is that a White Hart Lane though? Is that a Wembley thing?
Yeah, it could be a Wembley thing.
No, it isn't a Wembley thing. I mean, to some degree, it was better at White Hart Lane. It was the first time we were there as well. But the first time we were there, it was incredible. Like AC Milan turning up, Real Madrid turning up. You kind of look at it and you think, yeah, this is Tottenham. This is where we belong. But after that feeling's gone. You don't feel it now. Don't give me that.
Don't get me wrong. Of course, when Qarabag comes to Stamford Bridge, of course there isn't the tingle. But if we get to the semi-final this year and we're welcoming Barcelona and we're 1-0 down from the away leg, and we need to get a win, there is no feeling like it. Yeah. If we then do get that win, I'm on cloud 9 for a week, and then I'm booking up my final, booking up a trip to Kiev, and it's. My life revolves around those moments. Yeah. Don't get me. I'm not going to pretend that football can't be a chore. Sometimes I've got to leave work early and it's all hectic, and then I get there and we're 1-0 down to Forest. Yeah, it's annoying, but the glory and those brilliant moments, those dazzling, life-changing moments, mean so much that you put up with.
Yeah. The highs are so high because of the lows.
The highs are so high. Like the day that we won, I feel very lucky with my life. I've been married. I've got an adoring mother. I've lived a very lovely life. I'm very lucky. Dear friends, wonderful people. Yeah. But like Munich is in the top 3 days of my whole life.
I mean, yeah, good.
Munich is in the top 3 days of my whole life. Like, this is what I mean. This is what I mean. It's so wonderful.
Do you know? I've said this many times on the podcast, and when this is coming on the back of Arsenal not being able to beat Arsenal in about 26 attempts, whatever it was. Spurs played them in the League Cup, right? At the League Cup, and we beat them 5-1. Not only that, we just annihilated them. Annihilated them, right?
Is that when Van Persie and Adebayor had a fight?
No, it was Bentner and Adebayor.
Bentner and Adebayor, yeah.
And the headline the next day was Adebayor looking at Bentner and going, "I'm on because you're shit."
Fair. That's true assessment of the game.
Those are his quotes. Yeah. And the feeling I felt then was like nothing else I've ever felt in my entire life, and I've done a lot of things to make me feel good.
I bet.
Yeah. So it is incredible. All I'm saying is that by and large, I think you'll find happier people in the lower leagues.
Yeah, because there's less at stake.
Yeah, and I think to answer Pajak's question is that. There are lots of people that enjoy football, but you belong to a football club in Liverpool that is just attractive to so many people around the world, and I think by and large don't have.
It's not true either. People do love football.
Hang on, don't have the trials and the path that leads you to be a wholesome football fan. All the things you have to go through to get to a point where you can deal with losing results. You've had Chelsea, Spurs. Everybody's gone through turgid football. That you can be philosophical when you lose one game. When Lovren makes a mistake, you don't get death threats.
No. But that's not the behaviour of like somebody. We can't use this weirdo as some sort of meter to compare other football fans to. This would be like comparing a normal person to Ted Bundy. It's lunacy. Like you don't make death threats to anybody in any scenario. Like it's crazy.
No,
but look, as a football fan who you use Brentford as the example, the Chelsea team that I fell in love with wasn't that dissimilar to Brentford. It was slightly better, but it didn't win trophies, and it wasn't very good, and it was playing in a stadium that was often half full. Yeah. Not dissimilar to Brentford. Compare those days, wonderful as they were, watching Kerry Dixon up front, compare them to the days of watching Didier Drogba up front. Winning trophies is brilliant, mate.
No, I understand. I don't understand. It would be nice. I'd like one day to really truly experience that, other than the League Cup, the solitary League Cup. Lovely, 2 League Cups, sorry.
2 in 2 since 91.
Look, let's not. I made the point. You didn't have to ram it home. What's wrong with you, mate? We're trying to get on here. Aaron Sharp says, Flav, I hate to break this to you, but it isn't all sunshine and championships. I'm not being this kind of patronising.
Who's that? Aaron. Aaron knows what he's talking about.
No, absolutely not. I'm just saying that you lot down in the Championship, I think, react better and less sort of less like absolute fucking babies than some fans of some Premier League clubs. Is all I'm saying. And I think part of it's because there's an expectation, a level of we deserve this, as opposed to actually it's a game of football and anyone can lose one.
True.
All right. Sorted, isn't it? Morata clears up London comments. Basically said that he more or less eventually wants to go back home, which is fine.
He loves London.
What were the quotes?
He loves London.
Before, what was the controversial quotes?
I think he said he'd signed a contract for 10 years, didn't he?
Yeah, but before that, why did he have to?
I don't know. You put me on the spot here. I have no idea.
I thought you know about your football club.
I don't have a clue. What's happened?
Well, he said something about living in London and he wants to go back, and then he cleared up his comments and saying, no, I would say sign for Chelsea for life, but obviously I'm from Madrid and I want to go home one day.
Cool.
Yeah, it's cool, but actually I think the PR agency said to him, do you know what, I know you don't like it here, you hate Chelsea and that, and all the fans are like dicks, but you can't, they're paying you a lot of dough. How do you take that accusation?
Oh, the only thing I saw is that he had a pop at London about
dicks,
the traffic. He had a pop about London's traffic, which I completely concede is correct.
It was too big.
Too big?
Too stressful.
London's too big.
He found it a bit hectic, but that's what he said.
Do you know what? I love getting out to the countryside. And I can fully appreciate that.
Really? It's from Madrid.
We're coming to the end of the podcast now, but let's send your questions in the comments. A few people in the comments. Anything you want me and Rory to talk about. It could be anything you want. Anything you like. Doesn't have to be football. You can ask him about... You can ask him whatever you want. He's got a big head, apparently. I'm like a...
Who are we waiting for Adam to give us some?
No, I'm just...
You want a question?
Yeah, no, if they're any coming, let us know. Before that, we've got... this wicked little story in China. So a team has been promoted to the second tier of football in China. They're called Mexian Zhejiang.
You did well. You did
definitely
well there.
nah, but you did.
I think you did quite well there. You did it in one. You didn't go back on yourself.
Yeah, you got to double down. No one knows. Who else is going to know that? 3 million bonus for each player from getting out to the bottom division into the second tier. £3 million each player got, right? Great. Good for them.
Great, yeah.
Yeah, we've got the money flaunting it. You know all about that. Right, so do you know how they celebrated, Rory?
Go on.
By posing for pictures lying on their mounds of money. That is legendary, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like...
Didn't somebody do that in a... I've seen a picture of somebody else doing that.
Have you seen Breaking Bad?
Yes.
No, when they do get all comfortable on their money. That was the players.
Yeah,
just in there. Like, instead of being like this sort of graceful, all right, mate, this is amazing. This has changed my life. No. What we need to do is lay all the money out.
Get a photo. Quick, Insta selfie. Yeah. No, I think... do you know what? I think those sort of stories, people often kind of try and spin them into the negative. I think, brilliant. Good luck to them. And I would love to play football and someone give me 3 million quid to getting out of the bottom league in China. Good luck to those lads who've got it. And take your selfies, man. Enjoy it.
Crack on. Cal Wilson says, thoughts on food and drink at football?
In what circumstance? Yeah.
No, there is a wider issue here.
Does he not like the quality of the pie? Is he saying that he doesn't like the quality of the pie?
I think so. Spurs.
Who do you support?
He's Newcastle. No, I don't know. He's got. Who's that? Chris Kamara in his picture. So I don't know. God knows who. He could be a Sheffield United fan. Let us know, Cal, who you support. But at Spurs, it used to cost £4.70 for a bottle of Carlsberg.
That's appalling.
Which was 3.8%.
That's terrible.
You guys drink at half time?
Yeah.
Every time?
Yeah, more or less.
I always miss from 42nd minute till half time.
There's a massive culture for that.
Have to queue at Brentford.
Yeah, you have
to get in early, or she'll miss like 10 minutes of the second half.
It's true, and the half-time beer is a massive thing in football. Like there is a massive culture of people missing.
I disagree. I can't stand it in those circumstances. I cannot stand a warm, flat lager from a plastic cup.
Would you rather go out?
I think it should be good quality booze, and I think I should be trusted to drink out of a glass. I'm an adult.
You are an adult, but some fans behave like children.
They wouldn't. I think that if you give people plastic cups, they are plastic. They therefore throw them. If you treat people like an adult, nobody would launch a glass.
Of course they would.
No, they wouldn't. They kill themselves. No,
you
you can't take them pitch side. I mean, like people there's this culture which is the worst thing that has crept into football. People about a decade younger than me have now got this new thing of like congregating on the concourse and throwing booze around, throw the glasses in the air.
Yeah.
On no level is that football. Firstly, the booze should be drunk. Secondly, I've probably spent some money on a nice coat, so don't cover it in beer, dickhead. What are you doing? That would be completely eradicated if they were drinking out of glass, because nobody is stupid enough to throw a glass in the air.
That is
surely.
Adam is 100% in the middle of that.
Adam's probably got it in him. Yeah, Adam's probably got it in him. But I think this.
Let's go fucking men.
We're going on to like a weird tangent here, where I think that there is a criminalisation of football fans before an offence has been committed, and forcing us to drink out of plastic is an absolute disgrace.
Fair enough.
And for that reason, I will not invest in that culture.
Any other questions before we go? I love that, by the way. I'm right. You're right. No? Any more for him?
Has Rory ever played football?
Yeah, I'm really good as well.
Yeah. I've seen him, he is good. He is good.
No, I'm incredibly average, but I do play for London City. You'll see us in the Next Level League. Go to Next Level on YouTube, and I think a video comes out tomorrow. But go to last week's video and you'll see me score a chip against Copper 90.
Nyla says, Flav, you haven't seen that episode of Breaking Bad. Don't lie. That's true, I haven't actually seen that episode. I've just seen the meme going around. I think Breaking Bad is the most overrated.
You just like to be controversial, don't you? You're like Mourinho. You like Mourinho. You just say things for effect.
No.
Yeah. I bet you hate Narcos as well.
I thought it was average. Narcos.
Yeah.
Basically, I won't like anything that other people like.
That's popular in the mainstream Flav.
Yeah.
That's not true. I absolutely love Game of Thrones and Walking Dead. So that's
and Blink 182.
What's that got to do with anything? What's that got to do with
anything?
Are
they not?
I don't know what that means.
He's trying to mug you off on your podcast.
Yeah, this is my podcast, Rory. If we weren't desperate for people, you wouldn't be coming out. You wouldn't be coming back. All right, that's it. Thanks very much, Rory, for coming down. It's been a fascinating, really interesting chat, and we'll see you back soon. Remember, if you're listening to the podcast, you can come and join us on the Long Ball Street channel. And if you're watching this and don't know about Ball Street, then we have a main channel. It's youtube.com/Ball Street, and there's lots of good, wholesome football chat. We're also doing documentaries now. We're working on a couple of things in the pipeline. Half and half scarves.
Exciting stuff.
There's also stuff about Spurs at Wembley and how fans are feeling
Let's
at the moment.
do one on Lazio Roma.
That's fascinating. Why not?
Let's do one on that.
And we're doing one about Mourinho and his position in football now, and how Chelsea fans feel about him, and how Man United fans feel about him. All coming on the Ball Street channel. Go and subscribe, do us a favour, and until that time, we'll see you soon.
In a bit.
See you at the Far Post.